Let's talk about adjectives. What is an adjective? Adjectives are words that describe the qualifies or states of being of nouns, like enormous, like fun, like black, like fast, like slow. They can also describe the quantity of nouns, like many, like few, like millions, like 10, 9, or 8. Adjectives modify nouns. Most students learn that adjectives are the words that modify nouns. Adjectives do not modify verbs or adverbs or other adjectives. For example, Margot wore a beautiful hat to the pie eating contest. They only modify the noun, not the verb, not the adverb. In the sentence I just told, the adjective is easy to spot because it comes immediately before the noun it modifies. But adjectives can do more than just modify nouns. They can also act as a complement to linking the verbs or the verb to be. A linking verb is a verb like to feel, to see, or to taste that describes a state of being or a sensory experience. Like, for example, that man is sure happy, or it smells gross in the locker room. Driving is faster than walking. The technical term for an adjective used this way is predicate adjective. Okay? Adjectives tell the reader how much or how many of something you're talking about, which thing you want passed to you, or which kind of something you want. For example, please use 3 white flowers in the arrangement. Okay. Often, when adjectives are used together, you should separate them with a comma or a conjunction. For example, the coordinated adjectives. For example, I'm looking for a small, good tempered dog to keep as a pet. Small, comma, good tempered dog to keep as a pet. Okay? There are some degrees of comparison. The adjectives come in 3 forms: the absolute adjectives, the comparative adjectives, and the superlative adjectives. Absolute adjectives describe something in its own right. For example, a cool guy, a messy desk. Okay? Comparative adjectives, unsurprisingly, make a comparison between two or more things. For most one syllable adjectives, the comparative is formed by adding the suffix er. For two syllable adjectives ending in y, replace y with an I and then er. For multisyllable adjectives, add the word more. The superlative adjectives also indicate that something has the highest degree of the quality in question. We can talk about also the coordinate adjectives. Coordinate adjectives should be separated by a comma or the word and. Adjectives are said to be coordinate if they modify the same noun in a sentence. For example, this is going to be a long, cold winter. We use long, comma, cold, and then we talk about the winter. But just the fact two adjectives appear next to each other doesn't automatically mean they are coordinate. Sometimes an adjective and a noun form a single semantic unit, which is then modified by another adjective. In this case, the adjectives are not coordinate and should not be separated with a comma. For example, my cat Ulysses loves sleeping on this tattered woolen sweater. Since tattered and woolen doesn't describe the the sweater coordinately, they don't have to be separated with a comma. In some cases, it's pretty hard to decide whether two adjectives are coordinate or not, but there are a couple of ways you can test them. Try inserting the word and between the adjectives to see if the phrase still seems natural. In the first sentence, this tattered and woolen sweater doesn't sound right because you really aren't talking about a sweater that is both tattered and woolen. It's a woolen sweater that is tattered. Woolen sweater forms a unit of meaning that modified by tattered. Another way to test for coordinate adjectives is to try switching the order of the adjectives and seeing if the phrase still works. In the second sentence, you wouldn't say, no one could open the silver or lock it. You can't reverse the order of the adjectives because silver locket is a unit that is modified by all. Okay? When nouns become adjectives and adjectives become nouns. One of the things you should know about adjectives is that sometimes a word that is normally used as a noun can also function as an adjective, depending on its placement. For example, never try to pet someone's guide dog without asking permission first. Guide is a noun, but in this sentence, it modifies dog. It works one way or another. Some words are normally adjectives and function also as nouns. For example, Candace is working on a fundraiser to help the homeless. In the context of this sentence, homeless is functioning as a noun. It can be hard to wrap your head around it, but if you think of adjectives as nouns, only in a particular class of words. But the terms adjective and noun aren't just about words form, they are also about its function. Okay, so an adjective can be used every time in a describing matter. What you have to remember is that learning adjectives it goes hand to hand with learning vocabulary in English. And what you will have to know is that as much as you want, you only can be able to learn about adjectives if you learn about the vocabulary describing the pronouns.